for leaders to admit that they're afraid of something is a huge step forward, and to ask for help and to say they don't know answers to things. We never would have gone down that path had we not experienced this journey with Culture Plus.
BioBridge is a client that's close to my heart personally. So a couple of years ago, my dad was diagnosed with cancer. During his treatment, he needed a series of blood transfusions, and those came from BioBridge and the efforts that their donors and their recruitment teams and all of the employees within their organization helped deliver. So for that, I'm extremely grateful. And so for me, it is a personal journey to make sure that BioBridge is set up for success and that they were successful when they came to us.
We had significant challenges as it relates to accountability, really living the Aspire values, operating as one team, finding that standard framework that we could all rally around.
I worked alongside BioBridge as we were crafting the overall solution for them. It took a little bit of time because we really wanted to understand the organization, the challenges that they were having, and the areas of improvement that they were looking to make, because this was all about the opportunity for greatness within their organization.
Upon meeting them, talking to their team, talking to their employees, we got a lot of insights and learnings. And so there were challenges that were known to all that came out. But then as we started to interview teams and contributors around the organization, there were also problems that were revealed to us that were not known to all, especially to leaders.
I went to talk with Marty Landon, our CEO. He said, do we have a problem with that? And I said, no, we don't have a problem. We have an opportunity to really build on what I called a people-centric culture.
I said, I won't do it. And he looked at me funny. And I said, the reason I won't do it is because it's not a program, John. This has to be the way we live. And so I won't do it. If you tell me to support a program, I won't do it. If you tell me you want this to be the way we operate and you want this to be our culture, I'm in.
I've been with the organization for 21 years now, and definitely saw a lot of ebbs and flows of turnover. We had to do a reduction in force that left a traumatic event in the organization, I would call it. And so we were trying to recover from that.
Our first Culture Rise workshop was powerful. Overwhelmingly, it was a positive response.
Culture Rise is an initiative to help get leaders who have the most outsized influence inside of organizations to go on this journey of, number one, realizing that they may not be leading in the most effective ways for their organization, let alone they might actually be setting the tone for the culture that they're very much trying to transform.
So the first Culture Rise was so beneficial, and the feedback from the people who attended that one was just like, this is amazing. We need to do more of this. We did a second Culture Rise workshop. So there we had, in those two workshops, 80 leaders. And so it's infectious when you talk to other leaders and hearing what resonated with them. What are some of the things that, they took back to their teams? What are some immediate actions, and what are some long-term things we need to discuss as a leadership team? So it's just really cool to see the buy-in almost immediately.
Organizations that have experienced Culture Rise have a huge advantage in which their leaders are now ready to make a difference, ready to change.
After the Culture Rise, and all of our senior leaders going through that, and other middle management team members going through that, it was a big push for us to also train the rest of the organization and the employees. And so Culture Roots really kind of took them through a similar format of Culture Rise.
Culture Roots is an experience that was built to help ensure that organizations are able to build in-house capability to take their culture journey in their own hand.
Culture Roots helped me immediately because there's activities where we reflect on our own behaviors, and it made me really think deeply about those behaviors.
We created Culture Roots to be a side-by-side companion to Culture Rise. Culture Rise is for the leadership teams. Culture Roots is for everyone else, the frontline team members and the individual contributors in an organization.
As groups went through the Culture Roots program, they would come back, and it was almost like we didn't have to really sell the next group. They were selling it within each other. I started seeing people having lunch, and they would have Love as a Business Strategy book, and they were talking about it.
What I've learned putting in from Culture Roots is about patience and listening. Has enhanced my professional life and my personal life.
Culture Counter gives you tremendous amount of intelligence, analytics, and insights about the behavioral experiences across your firmographic data and demographic data that no other tool out there can do. And that's powerful.
Culture Counter data is very important to some of our senior leaders. We are a big data-driven organization and make decisions on a lot of sources of data and variables.
Culture Counter is the first true culture measurement tool. What we try to measure with Culture Counter is people's actual experiences. It's what they actually see in behavior around them in the workplace.
It removes finger pointing and blame. We're not looking for whose fault it is. We're looking at the problem objectively, and we're able to solve it together.
We are able to take that data and have it inform our culture practice workshops. We are able to take that and have it be a part of our Culture Roots experiences. We are able to take our culture consulting and really hone in on what it is the organization needs to take themselves to the next level of being a great place to work.
It wasn't a walk in the park to get people to understand that journey that we were needing to take. There were some that said, I'm not so sure we need to go down that path. But now that we've gone down that path, it's been fully embraced and absolutely supported.
You don't flip a switch and you've got a different culture. You got to see it in practice, and the leaders really have to practice it.
Any of the things that we saw that we needed to improve were the things that you've already been down the path and improved upon.
You all's company had gone through some of your own transformation. And so you weren't coming at it as like academic consultants. You're coming at it from your own lived experience as a real operating company.
Having that ability to come in and create solutions and unique workshops for them based on their realities has really allowed for them to take all the various pieces and experiences that Culture Plus and Software have gone through to make it work for BioBridge.
We absolutely see Culture Plus as partners in this entire journey and the endeavor we've been on. And for all of us on the senior leadership team, that's extremely important.
We start with the leader, help them build that self-awareness and get committed to a transformation journey. And together with that buy-in and the rest of the organization coming beside the leader, we're able to take the whole organization on a culture change.
Word of our culture gets out and employees say, I want to work there because of the culture. I like what I see. And even our new employees are saying, I wouldn't go anywhere else. I like this. I like how I feel. I like how I'm treated. I like the ability to be me.
Seeing their culture change makes me become even more of a loyal employee. Can't see myself anywhere else.
Our new hires love it. They always say how excited they are to really see a company that puts an emphasis on culture, on collaboration, inclusion, being vulnerable, and trust.
When it came to introducing new hires to a culture that they were joining, but also in helping existing employees understand where BioBridge was heading and what responsibilities they had in helping shape the culture that they too had wanted and had longed for.
No leader is a finished product. What the Culture Plus program offers leaders are those tools and strategies. It's insight, but it's also a little bit of an opportunity for you as a leader to reflect.
I found that people would begin their conversation that may be difficult for them by starting off with in the spirit of Culture Rise training, and then continue on with their difficult conversation.
You walk away subconsciously saying, it's okay to be vulnerable. If that leader can be vulnerable, if that leader, that's the first time I've ever heard that leader admit they made a mistake. They just became human being to me.
The general idea is to help have a drastic shift in your mindset and kind of how you look at yourself in the workplace, out of workplace, as a whole person, and hopefully be able to leave with a new perspective that sparks change that can be brought into all the aspects of your life.
We learn, learning or unlearning and relearning. It's constant, it never ends. I'm 57 and I've been unlearning a lot.
Our business results and our financials, it has impacted them tremendously. We were able to see turnover drop dramatically from beginning of the year to the end of the year now.
It's so stress-free to work with my peers. It is phenomenal. We think we have a great team right now that believes and is actually acting on it. We struggled with that before. We believed, but we didn't act. Now we believe, and we have people acting, we're starting to see the results.
But it's got to start at the top. If we didn't embrace it at the very top of the organization, it wouldn't work its way through. And it has been embraced and continues to be embraced from the very top down. And that becomes the expectation for all of our leaders through the organization.
The fact that there's an obvious investment from the organization in terms of people and culture makes me feel valued. I'm going to be able to do my job to its fullest potential. I want to work harder. I want to be more invested because they're more invested.
We have to take care of our people. As leaders, it is our responsibility to take care of the people that come inside of our organization to make impact.
The one biggest impact I think it's done for us going on this journey, it has helped us become more vulnerable with one another, but also we have forgiven one another.
If I'm going to practice vulnerability here and empathy here, why wouldn't I do that when I go home? Why wouldn't I do that when I'm in my community? So it is a culture that it's a personal culture that I carry with me. It's certainly a culture in the organization, but hopefully it is how we live. And so it makes us better individuals.
We wrote the book Love is a Business Strategy, talking about our experiences and learning why culture is an absolute competitive advantage. Not only does it help with retention, but it also helps the people inside of your organization feel and be psychologically safe, to truly innovate, to be better at the jobs they do, to care about each other more, to be empowered to do the work that they love. And all of those things are reasons why you should take culture seriously.